Wow. Good morning, guys. It is Monday, June, what is it, 29th? Yeah, June 29th. And it's day 51 of Flippin Live. My name is Andrew from 510 Books. Today I'm going to talk about a variety of topics, including a purchase I made over the weekend. Two purchases, Gaylords, and of 2,000 plus books that I purchased. Yeah, so let's get started.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, we're flippin' live.
Good morning, guys. See, there's a few of us here on this lovely Monday morning. It has been a little chilly here in Southern California. Uh, Looks like it's going to be another day that's a little bit it's a little bit chilly, which is always a good thing. So yeah. Let's see. The last stream I did was on Friday, so it's been a few days. Excuse me. Whoa. I needed to do the stream a little bit earlier today because I am going to have to go to the warehouse a little earlier because I actually have someone coming out to help me go through or start to go through the Gaylords that I have. I was able to on Friday. I was able to purchase 5 Gaylords of media. So it's actually from my same bulk source. It was 3 Gaylords of CDs, one of mixed media, so all different types of media. Well, mostly CDs and DVDs, video game software, audiobooks, and then another one that's all DVDs. So 3 different types of Gaylords, but the majority of it is CDs, and then there's also, of course, a good amount of DVDs. So I am having my next warehouse sale in 4 weeks. 4 weeks from this past Friday, technically. So a little less than 4 weeks, but I essentially have 4 weeks to go, and I've got the 5 Gaylords sitting at the back of my warehouse, so I need to deal with those. Not only do I need to, sort them and scan them for Amazon and organize them for either sale uh, locally or in lots on eBay, but I just need to get through them so that I can clear out the space for my sale. So I don't have, ideally, I don't want to have any of the Gaylords sitting there full so that I can use the space. That would be ideal. um, and I also probably will for sure need but to buy some more shelving. I'm looking currently into buying some different types of shelving for my CDs that are on tables right now, that type of thing. Oh, okay. So I see there's 5 people here. Good morning, guys. Feel free to participate in the chat. Say hello, comment. That is what I like to do here with the stream, Flippin' live stream. So yeah, I have someone coming this morning at 9 a.m. It's almost, it's 15 to 7 here, but I have someone coming at 9 a.m. So I need to be prepared for that, and they're going to help me essentially sort the Gaylords, doing the CDs today. So I'm going to have them pull CDs and stack them up based on ones, barcode up for ones that have barcodes that I can scan, scannable barcodes, and then another separate the other ones that either don't have barcodes or have what do you call it? have those BMG barcodes, the ones that you can't actually scan with your scanner, your app, they won't work. Put those in a separate piles. Excuse me, well, so that I can go through those after I've scanned everything that has a scannable barcode. Um, well, you guys are quiet today. I guess that's cool. Anyway, but feel free to chat, guys. Feel free to ask questions. I'll just keep talking. So yeah, it's gonna be basically that's it. I mean, there's gonna be the CD one. For some reason, one of the Gaylords of CDs is humongous. It's the biggest. I think it's the biggest Gaylord I've seen of CDs. So that's a good thing, in that there's a lot of CDs in there. There's probably easily over 2,000 CDs in the one Gaylord, but that's gonna take some time to get through. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna set up a couple of tables. I've cleared out some space. I cleared out some space, like moved all my stuff that I have. A lot of the stuff that I have for sale, moved it over so that they could get the Gaylords in to deliver it on Friday. And so I still have all that space. I'm gonna set up two tables, so the person can help me sort and organize the CDs in the Gaylord, and then I'll just keep scanning away. Um, and so we can kill two birds at the same time and see. I'll just have them work till noon, see how much we get through, um, and then have them come back. This is all assuming that they show up today, that they do a good job. It's the first time I've ever hired anybody to actually help me do it. So we'll see what happens. Um, let's see what else. If they do work, if this person does work out and they do show up and they're doing a good job and all that, I'll have them come back this week. I was initially going to do just Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, but um, if it works out for them, I'll do all 5 days in the morning from 9 to 12, just to try to get through this, get through these Gaylords quicker, sooner than later. Ideally, hopefully within a couple weeks. um, and if the person doesn't work out, I'll try someone else. I mean, because what I did was is I actually posted on, um, I posted on Nextdoor, the Nextdoor website or app, which is super local. So I posted on there for that for the job, and the majority of people that responded were actually like, "Oh, my son, my high school, soon to be senior son, or just graduated from high school son, or gonna go into the army son who's 18 years old," that kind of thing were most of the responses. But I also got a few from people who were not, who are a little older. But I got a good amount of responses though, so I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see if the person shows up and if they do a good job. Oh, okay, Brian. Good morning. I'm sure you're glad to be done with the dentist. Um, so yeah, I posted on Nextdoor and probably got, I don't know, half a dozen at least responses within a day or two. So excuse me, excuse me. Wow. It's always, it's a weird idea for me to hire somebody to help because I'm so used to just working by myself in the warehouse and in general. So it's going to be a strange situation, but I think I definitely know that it's where I want to head, um, and it means that if and when I do find somebody who actually who does a good job and all that kind of stuff, I can get through things like Gaylords of CDs a lot quicker. And like I've said for a while, I've wanted to hire somebody to list on eBay, and that would be a different person for that, because I'm thinking that would be somebody who would actually do it from their home, and they would pick up stuff from the warehouse and then go home and list it, and then bring it back, drop it off to me. So that would be a separate job, but which I would have to hire for and all that, which would be much more involved because I'd have to teach them how to actually list, uh, and all that. Excuse me. Wow, sorry guys. Um, I'd have to teach them the list. The sorting job, I mean, I have to teach them as well, but it's pretty straightforward stuff. It's basically just being able to do the repetitive, tedious work. It's more physical. It's not heavy per se, but um, it is repetitive. As you know from sorting books and CDs and that type of stuff, it can take quite a while. Um, how did I phrase my next door post? I think I titled it something like hiring temporary warehouse worker. Uh, I put temporary because I only have 5 Gaylords to go through. Um, and after we go through them, I'm basically done for now. I've got all those books, but I don't really need help with the books like I do with the Gaylords because there's thousands. I mean, geez, 3 Gaylords of CDs. There's probably like plus the other one that's got some. There's probably 5 to 6 thousand CDs. So I'm definitely going to need help with that. But I said temporary, hiring temporary warehouse worker. And I basically, excuse me. Wow. I basically, let's see if I have it here. I said hiring temporary warehouse helper. I'm looking for help with sorting CDs and DVDs in my warehouse space. And I said that they're in large, 4 by 4 by 4 foot boxes, and they need to be pulled out, sorted slash stacked in a specific way. Therefore, you must be able to handle physical, repetitive work. Um, I told them the pay and then the hours. Yeah. So that was basically it, and told them to message me. Um, some people message me like people's phone numbers, which is weird. Um, I mean, I didn't say that in the thing, did I? Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so I had some people, I had people message me, people leave comments on there. But it worked out pretty well in terms of, getting people in, finding people who are interested. Um, so yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this person fares, and hopefully it goes well, and I don't have to, you know, hopefully they can come back again and do the job basically, so that I don't have to worry about finding another person. Thank you, Joe. So yeah, so it was a good response. I think Nextdoor is really good for this type of thing because it's free, number one, but also, of course, you get what you get where it's free, but it's free, but also it's super local. So, you know, I mean, you could hire somebody that lives 10, 20 miles away, but um, it makes a little more sense if they're nearby. So you don't have to worry about that, them driving far or coming from far away. Of course, there's plenty of job uh, hiring websites that are specific to that you have to pay for. But for this type of job where it's temporary, it's not that many hours, it's not that great of a pay. I'm paying minimum wage, which is actually $12 here, which to me sounds like, as an employer, well, a temporary employer sounds like a lot, seems like a lot, but it's not that much money. But I think back when I was an employee, and I certainly, anyway, it's changed, right? The hourly rate has definitely gone up, but so it's a good place next door because you get to hire somebody, or you get to, it's for a particular job that's not, not, it's not full time, it's not benefits, nothing like that. I don't have enough work, unless I were to set up, currently where I am, using the space mostly as for the sale. It doesn't really make sense for me to continue to order Gaylords, and you know I could hire somebody to help me consistently with it if I had consistent stock, and I definitely could order from them consistently. But with where I want to go with the sale, I don't know if that would make sense. But anyway, it has me thinking, if this person does work out, that maybe I could order more consistently. But anyway, we'll see. It's all an experiment essentially, figuring out if this will work out well, working with somebody, and if this specific person will work out well. So yeah, so got the 5 Gaylords on Friday, and we'll see what happens. I will let you know. My next stream is going to be on Friday, so I'll let you guys know what happened with this, and hopefully it goes well. And excuse me. Well, if it did go well, then I'll let you guys know on Friday how much I actually got through within a week's time frame with somebody helping me out. Yeah. So also on Saturday, which you guys probably saw the picture of the video, I've been talking about it for a while. I was purchasing all those books from the store that closed down, and they had boxes in storage, right, in a different storage facility, same city, but on the other side of the city, in a different facility. And actually, I found out on Saturday that these books, they're all boxed up in boxes, so that's good. But these boxes of books, were actually in the previous owner's extra bedroom apartment but above the bookstore. So these were actually sitting there, and they had actually a while back, the daughter had actually had those moved to the storage unit. So excuse me. Wow. Sorry, guys. And so I got help from somebody who had a F-350 truck, pickup truck, and so they were able to fit a good amount of boxes in the back. And they had an extra seat in the back that could fill up too. And then I was filling up my car. So between my car and their F-350, we were able to move everything within 3 loads. So I got a 10 by 14 storage unit, and it ended up that actually I didn't even fill half. Actually, I don't know if you can see that. Let me change my screen so I can show you. But I didn't even fill half of the storage unit, which is fine. I mean, it means that I could have got the display here. I could have got a smaller one hypothetically, but I wanted one that was a drive-up one with the roll-up door, so I could just drive right up, open up the door, and then just access it easily with my car right there, versus having to walk into to a roll-up door, or go in through the door and walk in and that type of stuff. So I just wanted to have easier access. So here's all of the books that I bought. It doesn't look like it's that much, does it? But that's it's around that's the video. Whoops. It's around 100. I mean, it's roughly around 100 boxes. Because there's about is there 2 or 3 rows? No, 3. We got to 3 rows. Didn't even finish off 3 rows of boxes. And there's about 6, 7, boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, about 6. We didn't go much higher than 6 boxes. They start to lean and get really heavy. But it was a lot of work, having to load up the truck and my car. And the downside is that the storage unit that they had, you had to walk upstairs to the second floor, and then you had to walk a little ways inside. And they had one of those rolling carts that you could fill. So you could fill it with a good amount of boxes of books, and then roll it onto the elevator, and then put it in the elevator and have it go down, and then take it off on the ground floor. And you had could pull up right there with your vehicle. But, it just took more time to have to hassle with that. But anyway, it took 3 loads. And it was about a 10-minute drive from the other location to my storage unit. So it took about 3.5 plus hours, which isn't too bad, I guess, because there was three of us doing it. It would have taken longer if there was two, or if clearly if there was just one person, but was able to purchase those for pretty inexpensive. I did not. I mean, some of the boxes were open, so I peeked into some, and there's a variety of books. There's kind of a mixture of older books and some newer ones with barcodes. But there was one box that I had sitting next to me. I had boxes in the front seat at one point, and I looked through some of them. There was a bunch of mass market paperbacks. There was some sci-fi, science fiction stuff, and other random books. But I don't really know, So I'll see. I spent a couple $100 on it, so it's a bit of a blind buy, but it was really inexpensive. And there's probably going to be around, depending on the books, probably anywhere between 30 to 50 books per box. So it's going to vary as to, how many actual books there are. I won't know until I start going through it. But you figure, it's probably more than 2,000 books because of how many boxes there are. But what I'm going to end up doing is after I go through all the Gaylords, then I'll start going through these boxes of books. And I'll probably pull some of the boxes just to put out some new titles for my next sale, unless I get some donations from my donation video on Facebook. I'll just bring, I'll fill my car with them and bring over 10 or 12 or 15, whatever I can fit in my car, boxes, and then to the warehouse, and I'll just go through them that way. I will not go through them in the storage unit at all, because it doesn't make sense since I have the warehouse space. I'll just strictly use that for storage, actual storage. So I'll bring the boxes over, however many, to the storage unit, to the warehouse, and then there I will actually sort them and scan them and that type of thing. But I'm probably gonna hold off for a little bit anyway until I get through these Gaylords of media. So, I don't know what's in there exactly. There could be some good stuff. I figure for, how much money I spend on them, I'll be fine. I'll be able to find enough books. Worst case scenario is most of the books will go either to my local sale or have to be donated or given away to little free libraries and that type of stuff. And best case scenario is that a good amount I'll actually be able to sell on either Amazon or eBay individually. And if there's any sets in there, I don't know if there's any actual sets or series of books, but those are the ones I'm really only going to put up for sale on on eBay as lots. I don't really want to do eBay book lots based on like the genre or the what do you call it, the author, unless there's a lot of them and it is a popular author that sells often. I'll just stick to mostly like book sets or a book series, and I'll be happy to put those together and sell them as lots on eBay if it makes sense. If it makes sense, makes good money, that type of thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's a blind buy largely, so that's why I didn't want to pay too much for it. But they wanted the boxes, the books gone out of the space. They didn't want to have to deal with them, so they were willing to part with them for pretty inexpensive and help me out, because they could have just said, just come get the boxes, right? Bring your own truck or whatever and deal with it. But they wanted to help out. So that was really great that I didn't have to do all of it by myself, because that would have been a ton of work. If I had to move all those boxes by myself, it would have taken all day, at least half the day or more. Would have been exhausting. I would have had to have rented a truck, which I could have rented one truck and just done one, filled it up one time, right, and done one trip, but it would have been so much work to do by myself. So I'm glad I got help from two other people, and then I didn't have to rent a truck. So that was really, really great of them. 10 cents a book sounds good. Their sale for the duds. You should be able to sell 50% over 6 months with eBay, Amazon, your sale. Hopefully, hopefully. Yeah. So fortunately, I'm I acquired in 2 days, you know, a lot of stock. So now I'm flush with stock. It's just a matter of spending the time to get through it. So I'm not going to be buying any more inventory for a little while now, for at least a month plus. The other thing is, so I'll have a lot of books. I definitely won't get through all those books before the next sale. And I uh, I plan on getting through all the Gaylords before the next sale, but I will have a lot left over in terms of I will have a lot of CDs, extra CD stock, and a lot of extra DVD stock that I won't be able to fit on my shelves for my local sale, which is great because then I don't have to worry about getting those for the next one that I have in August, let's say, or whenever the next one is after this one that's coming up in the end of July. So that's always good. This past week, I spent a lot of time clearing out my CDs that I have listed alphabetically by artist and or group. So I went through them and I actually cleared out all the duplicates. And I kept a good amount of duplicates, probably like 4 crates or boxes full that I left alphabetical in order alphabetically, so that those are more like popular titles that if I sell them, I can just replenish them going forward. And then I already had like 8 crates of different titles. I thought they were different, but as I went through about more than half of them, I'm only left with 2 crates left of different titles. But as I went through them and started putting them into my local sale, so where they're alphabetically organized there, I started to figure. I realized that a lot of that stuff that I had that I thought were new titles actually I already had out. So it's probably like close to half that I wasn't able to add, but I still added hundreds of new titles. And because I cleared out so much space because I pulled a lot of duplicates out, um, I was able to, add a lot of new titles for the next sale. So there's easily like, I don't know, hard to say exactly, 300 maybe new titles, maybe more than that, maybe 400, a lot of new titles that I put out for the CDs. So that's good, and I'll be adding more CDs to the different genres as well as I go through these Gaylords of CDs and of other media. I already packed most of my shelves of DVDs with some new titles. There's still a little bit of room on some of the shelves there, but not much. Maybe another, I don't know, 10 or so that I could fit. Um, like I have a few little space in the horror genre, a little space in comedy and drama, that type of thing. Blu-rays, but not a ton. But also, what I'm thinking is to add more shelving for DVDs so that I could expand it even more, and hopefully just get more DVD buyers. Like I said, my last sale I had mostly, or not most. Oh yeah, the majority of the sales were for CDs. CDs number one, vinyl number. Actually, no, books were number two, and then vinyl. Um, but so DVDs, I didn't sell a ton of DVDs, but I did sell a decent amount. So anyway, hopefully I'll get more DVD lovers to show up. But the idea is to just have a huge selection of each media. Um, the one type of media that I have, video games, my selection is pretty small. So I'm hoping that there is some video games in that mixed media Gaylord, so that I can add some more. That's the one that's tough to find. You have to really pay up if you're going to buy locally, on Facebook Marketplace or Let Go or Offer Up or whatever. You have to pay up for video games typically because a lot of people know what they're worth, and so it's harder to find those for cheaper. Let's see. So yeah. Uh, so what was I gonna say? 4 hours. I don't know what that is. Okay. Yeah. So if you guys have questions or comments, let me know. There's about 10 of you watching. Appreciate you guys coming out. Just looking at my notes here. So made the book by the Gaylords. Also, yesterday I disposed of a bunch of books and CDs, items that I had, mostly books and CDs, almost all books and CDs that I had in my FBA inventory that were very old, and the prices had tanked, and they weren't worth keeping. So I didn't want to have to pay long term storage fee. So I disposed of around 170 or so. So it was a lot. My current FBA inventory is, as of yesterday, was 670. So this is the lowest my FBA inventory has been in such a long time. I've pretty consistently been able to keep it over or just under around 1,000, and hopefully with these media, CDs, not DVDs, but CDs, and it's mostly going to be CDs, but there will be some. I will find some audiobooks to send in. I might find some video games, that type of thing. But it's mostly going to be CDs. Hopefully, from all these, 5 to 6,000 CDs, I'm able to send in hundreds of them to Amazon. So hopefully, out of all of these, 5 to 10% would be ideal. So maybe 300 or more, so I can get more in there for Amazon. But yeah, it's the lowest that my inventory has been in a long time, which is fine to a certain degree, because I have sent in inventory more consistently lately. Although I do have I do have 3 shipments. Two of them are a little larger. I mean, not that big, but there's 48 items between them, 20 in one and 28 in another, that have been sitting at the local warehouse here for a while now, and have not been checked in. They've been received, but they haven't been checked in. So that's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to contact Amazon soon, and they'll probably just tell me, "Oh, you have to wait 30 days." So that's why it's probably not even worth me calling in. But yeah, so that does happen, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to getting through the Gaylords and sending in more, and hopefully, they are actually going to receive my stuff and put it into stock, because that's 48 items that could be live right now, that normally they receive it and they check it in right away. Usually there's not a problem. Um, so we'll see. At some point they will be checked in, I'm sure. I gotta say, you guys are quiet today. Must be a lot of new people. There's some new people here watching the show. Usually we have a lot of people commenting. Feel free to do that. So yeah, so that disposal felt good. On one hand, it felt good to get rid of all those items that had been in the warehouse for a long time. These were mostly, I think they were all actually items that had been there for over a year, and most of them, estimated fee was around 15 cents. So it's around about the same amount that I'm going to pay to dispose of them. Excuse me. Oh, wow. You get rid of 100 items at FBA, 15 cents an item, it's $15. So it's not too bad, right? And there's always, if you're a newer seller, you have to understand, newer FBA book or media reseller, you have to understand that a certain percentage of the items you're going to send into FBA are never going to sell for a whole host of reasons. It could be that it's a book. Let's talk about books. Let's say it was a book that should have never been sent in the first place, because you're newer and you didn't realize, that it wasn't the right type of book, that there was too much competition or whatever. But anyway, it wasn't the right type of book. So, it's not going to sell, and it's going to sit there, and you're going to have to end up disposing of it. Some books make perfect sense, right? Some media items make perfect sense to send in. the data looks good, not too much competition, the prices are right, all that. There's demand, there's not too much supply, or it's selling often. But sometimes you send those in and things happen, like the book, that listing becomes suddenly flooded with lots of other offers. And so then because of that, the price starts to be driven down because people want to sell their copy. So they figure they should drop the price. And then everyone else follows suit. So the price starts going down. So maybe it was, oh, I could sell that book for $15, send it in and make my $5 or whatever. But then over the months, it starts to be driven down to 12 and then to 10. And then before you know it, the next time you look at it 6 months from now, prices are like $8.15, just a random example. And you're going to make you'll be lucky to make 50 cents off of it if you sell it for that. So that'll happen to a certain percentage of your stock, where it could be, I would say it's going to range anywhere from as high as 25 to 30% of your whole stock. But you have to understand that if you're paying low, your cost of goods are low. I would say if you're paying $1 or less per book, and let's say anywhere between 20 to 30% of those that you send in, you have to end up disposing of them. That's, if you're selling 70% that you send in and your profit margin is good, you still should be fine, right? So if you send in 1,000 books, you sell 700 of them over a year, just of those 1,000. I mean, I'm not saying you only send in 1,000, but let's say you send in 1,000 and over a year you sell 700, then 300 don't sell and you have to dispose of them. That's only, what is that? Wow, that's only $45. Yeah, $45 to dispose of 300 items. 15 cents an item. So $15 every 100 times 3, $45, right? Where, $45 would be like a thrift store run. So those 700 that sold, though, if your profits are good, if you're making, 5, 10, whatever dollars per item, you're doing well. You're doing fine. So that's the thing. There is going to be a certain percentage. If that percentage starts creeping up to half your books, that's not good, right? You should reach trying to hit selling 70-80% of your books or items in Amazon, and then disposing of about 20 to 30, to avoid those long-term storage fees, or just the monthly storage fees at all. So yeah, just be aware of that, and trying not to have too many of your items not sell. That's why it's good to pay attention to what you're sending in, what actually sells of it, and then what actually doesn't sell of it, so that you can change your sourcing as you go forward and start to realize, oh, well, maybe these types of books that have this type of data aren't worth sending in that often, but then these types of books that have this type of data are worth sending in. But you only know that if you're paying attention to what is and is not selling. Yep, like Brian said, it's a numbers game. There we go. It's a numbers game. Absolutely. But it only works out in the long run if you pay attention to what is actually selling and what's not selling. So yeah, just so you know, right? So that as you continue to source and continue to get more inventory to send in, that you are not wasting your time on certain items that you think might be selling but are actually not selling. So the bigger, the more of a master that you are of your inventory, and you know what it is, you know what's selling, what's not, the better you'll be specifically as an FBA reseller. I mean, the same thing applies to Merchant Fulfill. The same thing applies to eBay. It's just that you have this. It's easier to know what is selling and what is not selling on Merchant Fulfilled and eBay, because it's sitting on your own shelves in your own house or your own storage unit or your own warehouse or wherever you're keeping it and storing it. So you see it, it's right there, right? You see, oh yeah, all that stuff sold. But then look at this stuff that hasn't sold. So But when it's an FBA, it disappears. It's no longer, in front of you. So you've got to go online and look at your inventory and see what hasn't sold yet and what has sold. Anyway, I'm kind of saying the same thing, but it's true. In order to really grow your FBA side of it, you've got to pay attention to those type of details. And of course, excuse me, the more you send in, the more sales you get, and the more you learn about what is better to send in and what is not, so that oh well, this thrift store tends to do better than this other one, or this library book sale tends to do better than this other one. Um, that type of stuff. And so you can look for things locally also. If you're going to do bulk buys or flip individual items, books, textbooks, whatever it may be, that you're not wasting your time. So you know what you really need to be focusing on, and where you need to be building your inventory. So that felt good for me to get rid of those items, even though my current FBA count is the lowest it's been in a long time. Still getting sales on there. I mean, you guys know the video I made the other day about I just got a bid about that merchant fulfilled sale that I made. So things are still doing pretty well. I have one sale today for FBA. I didn't have a ton of sales yesterday. Maybe I had 5 or 6, but as long as I have a few. But yeah, it does make me not anxious, but just makes me want to get through these Gaylords and get together another couple good sized shipments of CDs, so that I can send those into Amazon, and hopefully they will actually get checked in, scanned in and received and all of that, and go live, unlike the 2 shipments that I have sitting there. So hi guys, we've got 15 people watching live, which is awesome. Feel free to comment, ask questions in the chat. Don't be shy. I've been talking about a variety of topics today. If you're new, I was streaming live every day during quarantine, but as things have opened, I've decided to go to Mondays and Fridays for this Flippin' Live show. So Mondays, usually from 7 a.m. This morning I started at 6:30, but yeah, an hour-long show. We're talking about reselling. So it is definitely better for everybody when people do ask questions and comment. So that's always great. So yeah, this has actually been day 51, getting closer to 2 months worth of shows, which is crazy when you think about it, having started way back. Brian says, I had a day and a half of 0 sales on Amazon a few days ago. Inventory at 775. Yeah. So what I would say is, I mean, that happens and your inventory is good. I mean, it's more than mine, right? But I would say that it does happen in general. There's going to be days like that. I usually don't have a day without a single sale. Although, now my inventory is lower, that might happen. I don't know. We'll see. But, I mean, I also have over 200 merchant fulfilled offers, and I had 2 merchant fulfilled sales over the weekend. So that helps as well. So my total inventory, if you include merchant fulfilled, is over 800, closer to 900. But again, some of those merchant fulfilled items have been up there for a while. So, but anyway, regardless, I will say that happens. It just happens. Also, it's June, end of June, beginning of July. So, sales do tend to slow down even during quarantine, during the summer months. Back to school is coming around the corner in about a month. If you have a lot of book inventory, your sales should start going up. And so that is a good thing. But it's not unprecedented for this time of year on Amazon and on eBay for sales to be slow. So this is why it's a great opportunity, to source as much as you can, considering, we're in the middle of a pandemic. But source as much as you can, send in as much as you can, because in about 2 months, well, about a month and a half, you'll start seeing it at the end of July. But definitely as August hits, if you're doing a lot of book reselling, and you're also have access to a lot of school book related books, whether they are actual textbooks or just books related to, that students will be using, there's going to be a massive spike in sales in August. Specifically, it's usually end of August, last couple weeks of August, first few weeks of September. But we don't know what this one's going to be like. It should still be a lot of sales, but it might be different because a lot of colleges are not actually holding classes this fall on campus. So a lot of kids will actually be doing class, doing school from home through Zoom and that type of stuff, which is really, terrible for them. But I assume that, a lot of kids will still be buying books, but I don't know. We don't know what's going to happen, but there should be a spike. Normally, this is the biggest spike for book reselling, is August, September, and then, of course, the Q4, December as well. So anyway, my point is that it's around the corner, that even if things have slowed down now, they should pick up, hopefully. Yeah. Brian says it hasn't happened for a long time. Usually I get a minimum of 2 sales a day. Yeah, it's always a little weird. It definitely is a little strange and can be a slightly unnerving to a certain degree, especially if you're accustomed to getting at least a couple sales a day, even on your slowest days, and then to see a zero. I've had it happen. When I wasn't doing that much Amazon, wasn't selling or sending in too much inventory, and I was doing a lot more eBay, I would see that, where I would, there were months where I really wasn't paying attention to Amazon. I mean, I hadn't sent a shipment in, I hadn't been watching my sales, and I would check in and I would see, a couple sales here, and then there'd be a day with no sales. But, if you're consistently sending in shipments, and, you've been doing it for a while, like Brian has, sometimes it just happens, right? I mean, you should see sales, but sometimes it happens. So, as sales start to increase, you'll notice, or you'll realize, oh, well, it happens, right? It's weird. If you had maybe, the way, I guess the best way to deal with that is to send in weekly shipments, assuming they're being checked in, right? And not just sitting at the warehouse, but assuming that you're sending them in every week, they're being checked in. That's probably the biggest way to combat non-sale days. Even though you do that, sometimes there could be a day or two sprinkled in there where there's not one sale, but it's probably not going to happen very often. I'm willing to bet that this is not going to happen again for a while, that you probably will see sales going forward, that it's just an anomaly, basically. Don't worry about it, right? As long as Amazon is still running and your items are live, your account is fine, and people, people are still buying stuff, so don't worry about it too much. But if you're a newbie, you got to build up that inventory. If you only have 50 books, 100 books, 200 books, you got to keep sending more in. And it's not necessarily how big your inventory is, it's how consistent you are about shipping in new books and new items for Amazon. So if you're sending in only 20 or 30 items a week, that's fine as long as you're consistent with it, right? If you have small shipments, but they're every week, you're gonna see sales, right? As long as you keep sending them in. What I mean is, assuming that you're sending in the right stuff that actually sells. Of course, you can't guarantee sales if you're not sending in good items. But yeah, I would say consistent sourcing and shipping should give you consistent sales. And then as your inventory grows, your sales should grow, and you especially will see you should see consistent sales, but also during certain times of year, you should see big spikes in sales. But more importantly than the spikes and the more popular times of year is that you see sales every day throughout the year, no matter what. So then you know that you're sending in the right stuff and you're being consistent with it. Like any other business, you've got to be consistent. You got to work hard on it. Otherwise, you're not going to see the sales. You're not going to see the money. Good morning, JRKR. Good morning. We are wrapping up soon here in a few minutes, but talking about building up our FBA inventory. I kind of talked about a variety of things this stream, about the buy that I made, the 5 Gaylords of media, and I will be recording or making some videos about it. I still have a video that I need to edit, that I have in my iMovie to edit, but I haven't gotten around to it, about my latest warehouse sale from the previous weekend. I don't have any footage of actual people there. I tend not to do that, but I do have footage of talking about it. Anyway, I'll get around to putting that together. Yeah, eBay's got to be consistent. Yeah, it's the same thing. My eBay sales, let's see, over the weekend I got a few, not a ton. One, two, three, four. I have 5 eBay sales. One that sold as a waiting payment. Oh, someone bought that. Okay. Well, someone bought a Michael Jackson DVD set that I had. Okay, and then I sold a yoga DVD. I sold another CD, and then I sold another CD, and then a DVD. So CDs and DVD sales, with one book sale that hasn't paid yet. So I have a few eBay sales. I haven't been consistently listing on eBay, but also it's a slower time of year. I do still have stacks of books over here to list. Not a ton, but maybe 25 or so. So at some point I get around to that. I did list yesterday, though, 10 CD lots. And I do have 3 other lots up for sale. I have a kids DVD lot. I have a mixed genre DVD lot of 96 DVDs. And then I have one of TV box sets. So those are going to sell this week. And then my 10 CD lots I just listed last night or yesterday afternoon, so those aren't going to be selling till next weekend. And those CD lots came from my local stock that I pulled out, and I had a bunch of duplicates, and so I sold some of those and put those together and listed those as CD lots. And the other thing that I'm doing, guys, with CD lots on eBay is, going forward, I'm not going to be listing all different types of genres, just the ones that I know that do the best. So for instance, classic rock always does really well. Country can do well. Alt rock can do okay. Varies. What is some of the other? Oh, here. Hard rock, of course, can do really well. Also, like 90s and 2000s pop. If you put those together, like Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, Christina Aguilera, that type of stuff from that era, if you put those together, those can do pretty well also. I put one together that was like new wave and like rock stuff, like Billy Idol, like the Kinks, like the Clash, the Cure. I put one together of those as well. I'll see how that does. But some other genres, there's just a lot of other ones that I haven't done very well with. Like R&B hasn't done that well for me. But the ones that have done better, I'm going to put those together as a CD lot. And the rest of them, if I have excess CDs that I don't want to put in my local sale, I'm just going to remove the discs and sell them as a big lot of loose CDs, which I already have I have a good amount in the warehouse now. Excuse me. I usually try to get together like 300 to 400 loose CDs, put them together in a lot, photograph them, and then those vary as to how they can do. Sometimes they can do pretty well. You don't get hundreds of bucks for those, at least I don't, but I can get anywhere between like 40 to 60 bucks. They don't take up much space. They don't weigh that much, and it's a pretty easy way to make some money off of loose discs. That's what I like about non-book media, is that I can make money off of almost all of it, right? Even CD or DVDs as well, where I can put them into bulk lots, sell them in the wholesale section on eBay, and I'll make a little bit of money. And these are all titles that I already have, or um, I'm not going to put out. They're super generally more popular titles where I will see a lot of copies of them. Also, I can do loose DVD lots as well. Audiobooks as well. I can put audiobooks together, a bunch of them together, and I can sell them in lots on eBay, and that does pretty well. Um, so with non-book media, I like the fact that I can make money off of almost all of it. Also, with CDs, I'll get extra cases that I can use as replacement cases. DVDs, I don't necessarily need that many cases for replacement, but I can as well. So anyway, so there's a lot of different ways you can make money off of non-book media if you're buying in bulk. Versus books, it's a lot tougher. There's so many more individual different types of book titles in all different genres that it's very difficult to make money off of those, which is why I like to use, buyback sites, or one in particular that I'm using now, and then put it at my local sale. And if I don't feel like it'll do well there, then I'm just going to donate them. So, unless of course they're not in good condition. Mm. Brian says, country music is very popular around here. Do you remember how big of lots you would do for that genre? Ugh, honestly, like usually for this particular country CD lot that I put together is all different types of artists and different years of when they came out. But what I would usually do is put, like, if I had a lot of country, I'd put 90s country together and then 2000s country together. And then even if I had a bunch that was like 2010 and newer, I might put those together as well. So I would do it by like decade. I've tried doing all female. What else have I tried? I mean, sometimes I've tried like by artist, but that's different. That's only if I have a lot. Like if I have like 12 Garth Brooks CDs, then I could put those together. Or if I have 8 Shania Twains, or I could try that as well. The money varies. I mean, the 90s would usually do pretty well. I can't remember specifically what I got for them, but in terms of how many, it's anywhere. It's usually like over 10, but not really much more than 20. I don't do like 80 CDs. um, Typically it's usually like 20 to 30. But it depends. I mean, if the more you put in, potentially the more the people will bid on it. Just depends on what's in there. Uh, the Chitty Chitty Bang Bang audio CD soundtrack sells for good money. Okay. Sold one without the artwork. Oh, yeah. Uh, and then JD says, I assume with the FBA, it costs more to have items sent back to you than disposed of. Otherwise, you could sell your own month. Yeah. So so for FBA disposals, it's 15 cents if you essentially give it to Amazon and they deal with it, right? They usually just take possession of it and then they'll sell it off themselves. But that's 15 cents. If you have it mailed back to you, it's 50 cents. So I sell my CDs at my local sale for $2. So hypothetically, I could have it sent back to me for 50 cents, put it at my sale, and make $1.50 off of it. Well, I already paid for it somehow, some way, previously, whether it was in a bulk buy or from a thrift store. But anyway, I could. Also, there are some that might be able to be sold on eBay. So yeah, sometimes I will have certain ones sent back to me, because I will either try to sell them on eBay, or I will put them in usually not have them sent back to me if I'm put in my local sale, unless I think that I can charge more money for them, $3 or $4 or whatever, if it's a more valuable CD, then I might do that. This time I only had Amazon dispose of them. I didn't have any return to me. So yeah. but you can, and it could make sense for certain ones. But by and large, I like to just dispose of them for the 15 cents a piece and just move on. All right, guys. So we are at the end of the stream here. This has been day 51 of Flippin' Live here on Monday, June 29th, 2020. I'm Andrew from 510 Books. We go live now twice a week, Monday mornings and Friday mornings, usually at 7 a.m. Sometimes I'll start a half hour earlier, like today. Friday, we'll see if I start earlier or not. I'm not sure. But I will, we'll see. But I will have a lot to talk about on Friday because this week I have for the first time in my nearly 6-year reselling career, I will have somebody coming in to help me go through the Gaylords and specifically help me sort out those CDs that I have to go through. So anyway, we'll see how that goes. And on Friday, I will let you guys know and how, if it went well, how much I was actually able to go through for most of the week. So yeah, thanks guys for tuning in. Let's play the theme song and get out of here.
Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live. We're gonna strive, we're here to learn and gonna earn. Flippin' live, flippin' live, flippin' live, we're flippin' live.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. It has been, this is day 51, not in a row anymore, but day 51 of Flippin' Live. Used to be in a row. Did, 49 in a row. And so I wanted to keep it going, though. Just I enjoy talking to you guys and chatting and letting you know what's going on and learning from each other. So check us out on Mondays and Fridays, 7 a.m., but sometimes a little earlier, and it's an hour-long show. So hope you guys have a good start to your week. Hope you guys are able to do some sourcing, do some listing, get some sales, and you have a profitable Monday and a profitable week. I will be spending most of the week sorting through, going through, scanning, etc., the Gaylords that I've received. So that's going to be a lot of work. Hopefully by Friday, I will have gotten through at least 1 or 2 Gaylords, ideally, and within a few weeks be able to get through all of them. So before my next sale. But that's what I'll be doing this week, today and this week. So I will see you guys on Friday. Thanks for tuning in. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day. Have a great week. I'll see you Friday. Take care.